Welcome, everyone, to the 6th edition of our 50 million match here in Shanghai. Today we have 92 participants. And yes, this is still the largest event we've ever held, even bigger than the ones in Beijing. 4 years ago, we started with just 18 people in Beijing, charging 6,000 yuan. And to this day, we still charge the same amount. Looking back, those early days were pretty rough around the edges. Now, an important point. Today we have 20 men and 72 women. I know the number of men has dropped quite a bit. A lot of people ask me why, so let me explain. The truth is, the level of the women participating in this event is so high that many men just feel intimidated or like they're not good enough. We've had cases where a guy takes one look at the participants' profiles and backs out. Some also worry they'll be judged financially or in terms of social status, which isn't the focus here, but unfortunately, it's still what many assume. But all the men who are here today have passed financial verification and paid the 6,000 yuan fee. The women, on the other hand, were all interviewed one by one. Out of these 72 women, about 30 were born after 1998, and 19 are from the post-2000 generation. Some people think this whole thing is staged, that we just hire models to fill the room with pretty women. That's not how it works. Once the introductions start, you'll see for yourselves. Top-tier universities, impressive resumes, highly accomplished individuals. Just today, we have 20 women ranked a 9 or higher. We've got women from Tsinghua, Peking University, Ivy League schools, you name it. Now, here's something I've never said before. Our base in Shanghai is still slightly weaker than the one in Beijing, so some men are still not fully convinced by our standards. So let me be clear. If after the men's introductions you feel like your 6,000 yuan wasn't well spent, if you think the event was poorly organized or the profiles didn't meet expectations, you can walk out and request a refund. No problem. There's just one condition. You must not have added anyone on WeChat. As long as you haven't made any connections, you can leave and get your money back on the spot. Also, during the introductions, please, no photos or videos. Our team will be recording, but everything will be blurred out just like in our Douyin clips. When it's your turn to introduce yourself, tell us a bit about your family, your job, and your education, all right? And one more thing, an important request. Absolutely no financial exchanges between participants. We emphasize this at every event. To the men, even though there are plenty of beautiful women here, don't go around asking out 2 girls and trying to sponsor them with gifts or luxury items. We really hope nothing like that happens. But if it does, let us know. We'll expose them immediately. We're serious about what we do here. Whether or not something romantic comes out of it, the intention behind being here has to be sincere. We don't want this event getting a reputation as a scam, with gold diggers or sleazy guys. That would ruin everything we've built and threaten our livelihood. So we're laying it all out up front. Fireworks only last one day, but fireworks are meant to shine in the darkness. Snowflakes are reluctant to leave winter, just as I'm reluctant to say goodbye to you. Lies aren't always betrayal, and promises don't always get fulfilled.
This year, something really shifted in the dating scene. I went to a luxury blind date event. You know, the kind where everyone says only high-quality men go, successful, respectful, emotionally mature. My friends hyped it up. You have to go, the men at this one are different. So I went, dressed up, hopeful, a little nervous. And guess what? Almost no men. And the few that did show up, didn't even try to impress. Some walked out halfway. No goodbye, no contact exchange. Just vanished. I sat there thinking, wait, weren't they the ones desperate to settle down? Turns out, that version of men doesn't really exist anymore. The era where men begged for relationships? It's over. Many of them got tired. Tired of being judged for not fitting into someone's filtered Instagram fantasy. Tired of being told they're not enough, even when they were doing well in life. They bent over backwards and still got rejected. Now there's a new wave, men born after 2000. And they're not playing by the old rules. They've been raised with a me-first mentality, refined self-interest. They don't date to prove anything. They ask, does this bring value to my life? Does it bring peace? If the answer is no, they walk away, no guilt, no drama. Being single is no longer embarrassing. Having kids isn't a duty. Marriage? Not an obligation, just an option. It's not that they don't want love. They just want something that's mutual. Not one-sided worship. Not emotional blackmail. Not someone who drains their wallet and energy calling it standards. They want someone who brings peace, respect, admiration, and adds to their life. And if they don't find that, they're okay. Instead of chasing approval, they're investing in themselves. Traveling, hitting the gym, learning new skills. You've seen the videos, single guys quitting their jobs to explore the world, live better, enjoy freedom. And those videos? They're not rare anymore. They're a trend. A movement. Because men are waking up to something women have always known. You don't need a relationship to feel complete. You just need to feel alive. So when women ask, where did all the good men go? Maybe the answer is simple. They stopped begging. They stopped performing. And they finally chose themselves.
My first blind date after 2 years of marriage. Girls, this afternoon I went on my first date with a potential match. And I want to say something to all of you who are thinking about remarrying, dating again, or trying blind dates to find someone serious. If you have kids, even if they don't live with you, if you can avoid it, just don't do it. I've already been married and divorced. If I get married again, it would be my third marriage. The man I met today wasn't bad. He has decent conditions. But I'm not beneath him either. Still, to many men, a divorced woman has no value. That's the harsh truth. So why did I go on this date? You all know I work with relationship content and events. Honestly, my plan was to secretly film a little and maybe use the video to get some views. I did film it, but now, I don't even feel like posting it. Let me tell you. In the minds of many, many men, if you've been married before, if you have a child, if you're trying to remarry, your value drops to zero. No matter how polite or sweet they act. Most of them look down on you deep inside. If they're interested in you, it's because they see something they can extract. Your reproductive value, your sexual value, or your labor value. But make no mistake, they see you as a resource, not as a partner. Don't fantasize about changing your fate through marriage. If you're dreaming of escaping your life by marrying a rich man, ask yourself first. Do you even have the qualities those women who marry rich have? That so-called diamond they're looking for? I, for one, know I don't have that diamond. And because I know that, I also know this fantasy isn't mine to chase.
Have you noticed that even though there are more men than women in society, the dating and marriage market seems completely flipped? The ones anxious to get married these days are women. While men are just sitting back, legs crossed, totally unbothered and in no rush at all. And I'm not just saying this for effect. In recent years, many cities in China have seen a surprising shift, a gender reversal in the marriage market. At matchmaking agencies, the overwhelming majority of clients are women. In matchmaking parks where parents try to arrange marriages for their children, most of the people there are trying to find husbands for their daughters. On dating apps, the imbalance is even more extreme. Over 70% of users are women. To put things into perspective, at some offline blind dating events, the gender ratio can be as drastic as 50 women for every one man. That's why some media outlets have started using a dramatic headline. Chinese men are collectively fleeing marriage. But you might ask, isn't falling in love and getting married supposed to be a natural part of life? So why are men acting so reluctant? Looking at most online discussions, one reason stands out. Men and women today have vastly different expectations when it comes to marriage. And it's not hard to see why. Social roles have changed. The old model of men work, women stay home is long gone. Women now have equal access to education, careers, and financial independence. And with that, they've naturally raised their standards for partners. Which makes sense. If I'm excellent, I want someone who matches me. And that's fair. But here's the problem. Some women have taken this to the extreme. TV dramas, viral short videos, and online content aimed at women have been pushing the narrative that you must only marry someone who's rich, handsome, emotionally mature, and endlessly giving. In one famous dating show, a woman was asked what she's looking for. She said bluntly, if he doesn't earn at least 20,000 yuan a month, no. If he's under 1.80 m tall, no. If he's stingy with gifts, definitely no. But the average salary in Shanghai in 2024 is just over 12,000 yuan. And the average height of Chinese men aged 18 to 44 is 1.697 meters. So by those standards, what she's asking for isn't just rare, it's almost impossible. In today's social media era, unrealistic standards like these spread like wildfire. So what starts as the opinion of a small minority of women ends up shaping how many men view women in general. And what do men end up thinking? I don't meet those standards anyway. On top of that, I'd have to buy a house, a car, pay a bride price? No matter how I calculate it, I'm at a loss. Take bride price for example. In some provinces, the required amount exceeds 8 times the average annual income. That means a man would have to work 8 years just to afford marriage. So many men just give up. They throw in the towel and walk away. They lie flat and say, "Forget it, I'm not playing this game." In the end, it's not that marriage is impossible. It's that the cost of marriage keeps getting higher. It's just too expensive. And men refusing to marry is really a quiet form of resistance to the overcompensated demands that have emerged after the breakdown of traditional gender roles. This doesn't mean men are against gender equality or want to go backward. What's happening is, now that the tide has gone out, they've realized their effort and responsibility far outweigh the actual benefits that marriage brings. And let's be clear, men aren't stupid, they can do the math. That's what's behind this so-called mass exodus of Chinese men from marriage. From the government to the public, everyone's trying to promote marriage and childbirth. Policies, incentives, campaigns, all aiming to get young people to settle down and start families. But honestly, if we really want to raise the marriage and birth rates, we still have a long, long way to go.
为什么说现
Why do people say that in today's regular dating market, freeloading doesn't really exist anymore? Because society has become more and more realistic. In the average dating scene, it's nearly impossible to get something for nothing. But that doesn't mean freeloading doesn't exist in the high-end dating market. In fact, it's alive and well there. In regular dating, people's expectations are usually modest and short-term. Most conversations don't even touch on sensitive or deep topics. And when it comes to marriage, everything stays within realistic, practical limits. But the high-end dating world is different. And what counts as freeloading, there isn't what you might expect. For regular folks, freeloading means not spending a single cent. But in the high-end world, freeloading means you spend on the small things. But when it comes to major life decisions, that's where you're aiming to gain. Let me give you a real example. There was a wealthy, attractive woman from Shanghai, a classic by Fu Mei, rich, beautiful, from a good family. She was born in the late 80s and at the ideal age for marriage. She met a man from Beijing, also very well off, graduated from a top university, owned his Beijing apartment outright. They started dating long distance. At the beginning, the woman made one clear condition. If we get married, you need to move to Shanghai and buy property there. The man agreed without hesitation. Throughout their long-distance relationship, he paid for flights, hotels, everything. To people like them, those expenses were negligible. 6 months later, when talks turned to marriage, meaning it was time for him to fulfill that promise, the man added a new condition. If I move to Shanghai and buy a place there, I'll have to sell my apartment in Beijing. That's a big sacrifice. So we need to sign a prenup. The house will be in my name, and if we get divorced, you'll pay me 20 million yuan in compensation. The woman was stunned. She was wealthy but no fool, she obviously refused. But the man insisted. I gave up so much. I sold my place, changed cities for you. Now I'm just asking for some security. It's just a precaution, if we don't divorce nothing happens. But here's the thing, saying it nicely doesn't mean it's reasonable. Her family was wealthy too, they weren't stupid, and they'd never allow her to sign that agreement. Naturally, the relationship ended. And here's the lesson. When a woman makes unreasonable demands and a man says no immediately, that's actually a good guy. But this Beijing man? He said yes to everything. He spent 6 months learning her boundaries, and then, at just the right moment, he proposed a condition he knew she'd never accept. The result? He got 6 months of dating and walked away clean. This is what we call a new tactic of high-quality scumbags. They say yes to everything. And because they seem perfect, good looks, good income, good manners, the woman trusts them. But the day they're supposed to commit? That's the day they vanish. Some people think, if only she had agreed to his condition, they'd live happily ever after. But remember, people who put money first will never take love seriously. If divorce comes with a 20 million yuan penalty, don't you think he's already mapped out the whole game? Every bit of naivety will eventually lose to reality. And maybe that's also why so many blind date events, especially luxury matchmaking gatherings, are quietly disappearing. Think about it. What used to be packed with women dressed to impress and men flaunting their assets has now become a hollow show, full of fake smiles, hidden agendas, and no real outcomes. Women show up expecting sincere, high-value men. Men show up either calculating or just curious, not serious. Both sides are disillusioned. And when both sides are playing defense, who's left to build a real connection? That's why the glamorous, high-end blind date scene, once seen as the fast track to elite marriage, is fading away. Too many stories like the one I just told. Too many games. Too much mistrust. People are tired. In the end, it's not matchmaking that's broken. It's the fantasy around what these events promise. Because in an age where everyone is calculating, where love is treated like a negotiation, even the most luxurious dating events can't hide the truth. No one wants to be the one who loses first.
Hello, everyone. I'm the Shangxi matchmaker, and I've been working in matchmaking for 5 years now. Today, let's talk about a question I hear all the time. Why are there so many more high-quality women than high-quality men in the dating market? Well, after observing this for years, here's my conclusion. Yes, there are way fewer high-quality men than high-quality women in the matchmaking scene. Sounds strange, right? After all, China has 30 million more men than women. And on average, men earn more than women of the same class, or at least not less. So why is it that when it comes to blind dates, good men seem to disappear? Simple. The few genuinely good men out there are being fought over by women who consider themselves premium, completely ignoring emotional inflation. That's why we're now seeing so many so-called leftover high-quality women. Think about it. Have you ever heard the term leftover high-quality men? Exactly. You haven't. So how is it that, despite having more men and higher male income averages, there are fewer quality men? Here's the catch. The definition of high quality is controlled entirely by women. Whether in real-life matchmaking events or on social media, women are both the judges and the players. And that means dating has become a rigged game from the start. Let me give you a few examples. Female teacher, stable job, long vacations, good with kids, a great wife candidate. Male teacher, low salary, lectures too much, limited future. Next, female nurse, nurturing, stable job, caring, premium. Male nurse? What are you, a wannabe male version of Florence Nightingale? Ridiculous. Female flight attendant? Young, beautiful, stylish uniform, classy. Male flight attendant? Airborne waiter. Just because he works 30,000 feet in the sky doesn't make him Prince Charming. Artsy, creative woman? No house, no car, but optimistic, loves film, takes cute selfies. High value, artsy guy? Broke poser trying too hard. Cheater in disguise. Basically, women have lowered the bar so much for themselves. Even being addicted to travel is now seen as a positive personality trait. And worse, many are over 30, have been working for over a decade, living paycheck to paycheck, yet proudly list loves to travel as if it's a golden ticket. Since when did spending money become a virtue? How are men supposed to deal with that? This twisted definition of what makes a woman high quality has created a crowd of frustrated singles yelling, "I'm amazing. Why am I still single? Where did all the good men go?" And that frustration, it's what inspired shows like Nothing But 30. But let's be honest, if you were truly unbothered by turning 30, Would you really need a show to convince you that 30 is no big deal? Wake up, my dear high-quality single ladies. This is your Shangxi matchmaker speaking. If you want help finding someone, no delusions, just honesty. Send me a message. Thanks.
Everyone says there are more men than women. But at blind date events, it's always the opposite. Women are everywhere, and men are a rare sight. Some events have a staggering 9-to-1 rationing women for every man. So why is this happening? Today, parks, matchmaking agencies, even corporations are hosting dating events. But no matter the location, the same scene plays out. More women, fewer men. Some organizers even set age limits for female participants, yet men remain scarce. Now here's the ironic twist: most of these events require men to pay a fee to participate, sometimes the equivalent of a full month's salary. Meanwhile, women get in for free. Actually, they don't just get in, they're pre-selected through interviews. Organizers specifically look for the most qualified women, young, attractive, educated, polished. It starts to feel less like dating and more like product curation. To be fair, I get the business model. It makes sense, commercially. But let's be honest. What are the chances that a relationship formed in this kind of setup will actually work? Personally, I wouldn't bet on it. Still, I can understand why these events are popular. In many Asian countries, it's one of the few remaining ways people can meet. The competition, both in dating and in careers, is absolutely brutal. And we're not even talking about the influx of women from Southeast Asia entering the Chinese dating market. They've essentially taken all the regular guys off the table. The only men left are the high-value ones, and those are already being pursued by high-value local women. The result? The average Chinese woman, with traditional expectations of a dream partner, has almost no chance unless she lowers her standards. The math simply doesn't add up. But I want to hear what you think. Leave your thoughts in the comments, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this, and I'll see you in the next one.